We really think that people are going to be helped when they work with somebody like you, because you not only are doing this as an area of specialty, you've also seen now, as a new era, you have over 20 years in the field, and you've seen people at their worst.
Yes.
That passion of trying to help people, I believe it's on a different level in a positive way for you, because you don't want them to get to that place when things become terminal or become so chronic to where they're never able to get that quality of life again. So you are playing a critical role in prevention, and so we're thankful for that. Hi, welcome to another episode of Illuminate Psychology Podcast with Dr. Rolla. This is a space where we talk about trauma recovery, suicide prevention, and mental wellness. In this space, we shine the light on the path of healing. We break the silence, we challenge the stigma, and we illuminate the way forward. I have a wonderful guest for you. She is an expert in her field. Her name is Dr. Sarah, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Dr. Rolla. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. She's a very busy lady, and I feel very honored to have you here. I haven't met too many people that are doing what you do, so I wanted you to tell our audience what you do, your education, your clinical experience, and why this important subject of trauma and weight management is important to you.
Sure. So my name is Dr. Sarah Omodele. I'm a nurse practitioner and also a health coach. I'm the owner and founder of Unlayered Health and Wellness. And I have over 20 years plus experience in cardiology, internal medicine, primary care, psychiatric, mental health, gastroenterology. I got experience in clinical research and working in a pharmaceutical company. So what I do, I work with clients, professionals, women and men who are just trying to figure out, how to lose weight, how to live healthy, how to improve their metabolic health. So that's what I really focus on. And then I work on their mindset. So my main goal is to let people understand that they don't have to struggle alone. They don't have to struggle with the weight. They don't have to struggle with all these medical issues that they have. There's somebody here to help them. And also to let them understand that there's a psychological piece to it. Because for me, as I said, working in cardiology for several years, working in the hospital, working in the inpatient clinics and things like that, I saw a lot of people, coming in for the same problem. Patients that are diabetic, patients that have heart disease, they come in for the same thing. You tell Mr. Smith, stop smoking because this is affecting your heart, but he keeps smoking. Miss Patel, you need to lose weight. This is not really helping your heart, but she's struggling. So there's a lot of things that, we as providers, we see them in the hospital, when they're sick, we give them the medication, but there's more to it, the holistic part of it. In nursing school, or even with physicians, they don't really train us a lot about, the holistic part. They only train us, okay, here is the disease, here is a medication, treat. But being able to understand that, there's also a psychological part, there's also a nutritional part, there's also an emotional and a mental part to this. So that's what really, got my interest, because I really want to help people realize that there's a connection. I need to help you figure out, okay, what exactly is going on? You're struggling with your diabetes, but what else is going on?
Wow.
What is your mindset? Is it because of negative thoughts? Is it because of the way you feel about yourself? Is it because you're in a relationship that is not really benefiting you and you're using, very destructive coping mechanisms to treat that? So those are the things that I really talk to my clients on.
I love it. The reason I have you here is that many of us go see our doctor. We go to see our doctor for our annual exam. We spend a few minutes, we're on medication, and we go back home. It seems like you got tired of just seeing people on that other end when they're very sick, and that your goal in terms of as a professional shifted. What kind of training? So you worked in a hospital, now what kind of training do you have? What is your doctoral degree in that kind of has helped you to not shift focus because you're still working clinically, but
Right.
refine the way you provide treatment towards people who have chronic illnesses?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. So I have my doctorate in lifestyle medicine.
Wow.
So as a nurse practitioner, I went ahead and, got my doctorate because I really wanted to know more about how lifestyle affects chronic illnesses. So I was able to learn a lot, to do a lot of research, and, just to know that there's actually a correlation between the lifestyle choices that we make leading to chronic illnesses like diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, and things like that. Studies have shown that we can use lifestyle medicine to manage, treat, and even reverse some chronic illnesses. You can reverse diabetes, you can reverse heart disease, you can reverse high blood pressure. You can reverse those things. They are really lifestyle changes that can help you accomplish those things.
That's wonderful. Thank you for educating us on that. So for a person who has trauma, somebody who's experienced abuse, even betrayal trauma, some people could be emotional, some people were in a school shooting or shooting their community, their sense of safety was shattered from that experience. What would be a connection between the trauma and the ability to manage their weight and other physical symptoms that some victims of trauma would say they're experiencing?
Sure, that's a great question. So with trauma, with any level of trauma, your body goes into that fight or flight mode. And usually when your body releases some hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, your heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, the contraction of your heart goes up. So those are the responses that you have at that short period of time. But when you go through this chronically, it leads to a lot of problems, especially the heart, for example, since my specialty is in cardiology, it increases your blood pressure. Chronic inflammation can lead to blood pressure issues, can lead to buildup of plaque, atherosclerosis that can cause plaques and cause strokes and heart disease. Diabetes can also come up because the cortisol can releases, the insulin and the glucose, and, it causes you to crave sugary foods and sugary substances, which obviously leads to weight gain. And then you have elevated glucose, which leads to diabetes and metabolic imbalance. And also chronic stress can wear down the heart. It can cause heart failure. It's called Takotsubo. Takotsubo is like a stress-induced heart failure. When somebody goes through traumatic event, heartbreak, just chronic stress, the heart can fail. You can have heart failure. You can have congestive heart failure from the chronic stress. And also you can have irregular heart rhythms. You can have AFib, A-flutter, just because your heart is going through so much. So it's really important for us to be aware of the impact of this trauma on our body, on our hearts, on our minds, or on just the whole body. So it's very important to address those.
Thank you so much for educating us, because isn't it amazing how many people who are victims of trauma will hide it because of the shame, or maybe there's not enough help for them and they just feel so overwhelmed by what is going on, and maybe they see their doctor for a few minutes. Is just not knowing the impact and how just being at such a high risk of having all these other challenges in addition to what they're facing.
Exactly.
The quality of the life of that person is going down. Isn't that right?
Yes.
It's not just the incident that they suffered or the incidents they were exposed to. For a lifetime, if they don't have adequate intervention and support, it can be devastating for them. Yes. And I'm so grateful for you sharing that with us. So if you are struggling and you are a victim of trauma, realize that you're not weird if you are feeling tired in your body. If you can't sleep well, if you can't keep food down. Some people even do have eating disorders.
Yes.
Where they are purging themselves and they're having rapid weight loss. These are all expected symptoms of trauma. Please get help. Because as we're hearing from Dr. Sarah, the long-term consequences of not getting help can be pretty devastating. And the earlier we get help, the better. I'm so learning. I feel like I'm going to a biology class. Dr. Sarah is taking me back to the anatomy classes I'm trying to learn, and I'm so humbled. And that's what I love about being there for others and educating them. I find that I'm learning as well.
Right.
It's not just others, but I'm also learning about how to better help others. So what are some of the challenges that somebody who has trauma would face in terms of being able to get the help or even being able to use the help they get? What are some of the things that you've seen, maybe some of the clients that has been the difficulties they've faced and they've been stuck for a while? What are some of the things you have to help them to be unstuck from?
Right.
Yeah.
So, trauma, depending on the type of trauma, you might not deal with it at that time. You might like, okay, well, this is just something, it happened, and you suppress it, you keep it in, but then it festers, and then it bleeds into other things, like it bleeds into your health, it bleeds into you going through, because a lot of people manage their stress in a bad way.
True.
People eat, they smoke, they drink, they're inactive. So for somebody like that, first of all, if they don't realize that the damage that it's doing. So the first thing is just awareness, really, and helping them know that, okay, what is going on? Because sometimes they might not realize that it's the trauma that is causing the problem. So they might come in and say, okay, just like the clients that I've had, they come in, first of all, they want to lose weight. Okay, you want to lose weight, so what have you done? What is the problem? And then when we start going a little bit deeper, we realize, oh, this is the reason why you're waking up in the middle of the night to go into the refrigerator and eat, constantly. Or, you get home, you're tired, you eat, you're sad, you eat. Or you're constantly just doing stuff that is wrong, but you just feel yourself stuck. If I bring awareness to that, I think that's usually the first step to get the intervention that you need.
So it's being informed.
Yes.
Getting past that lack of information, which
Yes.
many victims of trauma have. Do you find that some of them, when they become aware of the connection, then what is the next step? How do they deal with it, and how do you work with them from that time on? What kind of things would you do after you've done that education?
Yes, I think what I do is mostly, as I said, making them aware, and also working on their mindset. Is a mindset thing, letting them realize, okay, this is what's going on, and then trying to rewire their brain, give them affirmations, let them know that, you're not broken, let them know that you're not alone, I'm here for you, replacing those negative thoughts with positive thoughts, also letting them be aware of the habits that's leading them down this road, because habits are things that you do subconsciously, like you don't know, it's a habit for you to get up in the morning, drink your coffee, get a bagel, and go on your way, it's a habit. But when I bring awareness to my clients, like, okay, let's track what are you doing from the moment you wake up, what is going on? So when you realize that, wait a minute, I get the coffee, I get the bagel, I get this, I get that. So that is what's causing me to have that extra 20 pounds or 30 pounds that I'm trying to shake off, but it's not leaving me. Or you get yourself into that mindset where, okay, somebody said something negative. They might not really mean it, but you think about it, you let it fester in your brain, and then you're like, oh, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough. Oh, your past trauma, if it was a rape or something negative, you go back to start thinking about that feeling, and then that makes you really depressed and sad, and then you just find yourself in that cycle.
I love it.
So that's, just letting them be aware of that, coaching them, giving them strategies on how to break away from this. Because if you don't know that you're supposed to exercise, at a certain time or during, certain hours, you wouldn't do it. If you know that you're not supposed to eat certain food at a certain time, you're going to keep eating the same food, and you're wondering why you're not able to get to that weight loss or weight goal that you're trying to get to. So really bringing all that into perspective, the awareness, and just kind of coaching you through those changes that you need.
I absolutely love it. So what you're saying is you kind of zone in on the person's lifestyle.
Yes.
Because you have your doctoral degree in lifestyle medicine.
Yeah.
You look at what that person is doing that is connected with this undesirable place they are.
Right.
And you now try to unlearn those habits and then teach new ones.
Exactly.
Which seems easy, right? Let's be honest, on paper, but in reality, this is no joke. But I think what I love about what you're saying is you can rewire your brain. The same way your body and your mind is trained to do something in a way that is not good for your body, you can also learn how to do things that are good for your body.
Yes.
The message that Dr. Sarah is giving us here is don't give up. Your brain can be rewired. The same way you learn something, you have to give yourself a little bit of a break and compassion, grace to unlearn and relearn.
Exactly.
And what you don't know how to do yet can feel very difficult. But as time goes on, what has your experience been?
Yes. It's just a matter of keep at it, because sometimes when you start something new, remember, habits are something you do on autopilot.
That's right.
You're trying to learn a new habit and you're trying to unlearn something else that is bad. So it's going to take time. So if you get to that point where you're like, okay, I'm trying to do this, Sarah, but this is not working, just keep at it. At the end of the day, you're going to see the result. You just have to be consistent. You have to just keep pushing and just focus on your end result. There's going to be a lot of distractions. Life will give you distractions. There's never a perfect time, but it's all about being able to tune in and focus. Like, what do you really want? What do I want out of this? I want to lose 5 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to 20 pounds. Or I want to just be able to get up and walk my kids to the bus stop. Or I want to be able to just tie my laces. Those little things that people take for granted, those are things that can be accomplished if you keep going at it and don't give up. Just keep pushing and just stay on the prize. Just put your eyes on the prize.
That's right. Remember, guys, we're talking about trauma and weight management. And what Dr. Sarah is telling us is that it's not about having this massive goal, because that can be very overwhelming, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
But just having something to look forward to that is measurable and within your reach can give you encouragement to get to that next spot, right?
Exactly.
And then when you get there, then you can start with something else, right?
Yes.
So just all these nuggets are getting me all excited, but honestly, it's a principle that will change our lives as wherever you are in life, whether it is PTSD or whatever you're going through. Setting goals that are within your reach and finding something to look forward to, like walking your children around or your grandchildren, can be an inspiring thing to get you up every day. And what I've found in my experience, my personal life and working with people, is when we now get to that spot, we're excited about the next step.
Yes.
And we're excited about the next step. And we don't feel as overwhelmed about, I need to lose 100 pounds. Now it's about losing 5 pounds so I feel better and I can maybe fit one size down rather than six sizes less, right? So being easy with ourselves, showing self-compassion, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, giving yourself grace,
Giving
because we're
yourself
humans. We're
grace.
gonna make
That's
mistakes. We're
right.
gonna have, there's no perfect person really.
That's right.
You start on your journey. You're making progress. You get distracted. You fall off the wagon. But the difference is you not staying there.
I love it.
You realize that, okay, I'm human. I made a mistake. So let's get myself back on track and just keep going, because no one is perfect.
Thank you so much. And I think it took me years to accept that I'm not perfect. I know I'm not. But honestly, the day I embraced that reality, that I can't be everything to everybody, and that it's okay to make mistakes and learn from them, I became a different person. I felt better, right? And I find that I've accomplished more, because I'm willing to say, so what if I made a mistake? What do I learn from that? And I'm also able to go out and get help from people who know more than me in that area and use that to my benefit, rather than being the one who knows everything and being in this limited space.
Right.
So it's kind of like why you're working with me on this podcast today, because I know my limitations, right? I don't have a doctoral degree in lifestyle medicine. I have a doctoral degree in psychology, in clinical psychology. And having Dr. Sarah with us is augmenting our understanding of how trauma affects a person and helping you, our audience, to have a more holistic perspective on emotional recovery. It's not just about what you went through emotionally, it's about every area of your life. I also find that when people take care of the physiological part, diabetes numbers get better, work to the blood pressure, that also helps them to feel like they're healing from their trauma.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because now you've realized that, you're doing something positive. You're
it.
seeing the numbers go down. You're losing the weight. Your blood pressure is better.
Yes.
So it just gives you that motivation.
I love it. And do people then feel better in control of their lives, which trauma makes you feel powerless and helpless and out of control. And your intervention and the kind of work you do helps people to feel like, I have something working for me.
Oh, yes,
Right.
yes. We tap into your strengths.
love
A
it.
lot of people don't realize their strengths, their potential, and then when they realize that, oh my God, I can do this, I am made for so much more, I matter. That rewiring and that resetting of your brain just kind of helps you and improves your confidence. Just letting you know that it's okay. And also letting you know that you have what it takes. You're strong. You're stronger than you think you
So we're talking about
are.
empowering people.
Yes.
And
yes.
helping them to find a new meaning after the trauma they've experienced.
Yes.
So just to talk a little bit about food, because we live in America, we have a whole lot of food.
I know it.
Giving you a little bit about our background and my background, I was born in London and raised in Nigeria. So when I lived in London a long time, I was in Nigeria a little while, but in London I lived a long time. When I arrived in America, I was overwhelmed by the options that we had in the grocery store. The one that threw me off the most, guys, is the baked beans. The number of flavors. I was like, oh my God, what do I choose? I don't know what to do. And I went for a women's program and I looked and we went to a restaurant and I saw the food portions and it freaked me out. Now I have lived in America now for 28 years, so I'm used to the portions. But honestly, it's a challenge we face as a culture in that we have so much food and we have so many options. And food then becomes a drug for many of us at different times, whether that is not eating enough of it or adequate nutrition, because you can be slim and be unhealthy, right? Or being overweight because we're eating food. So we're not talking here, guys, about your weight on the scale alone. We're talking about having adequate nutrients, right?
Exactly.
Dr. Sarah?
Yes.
What would you tell us and how can you help us if somebody is a victim of trauma, or just to anybody who is watching us today? What kind of tips do you have for us on having a healthy relationship with food?
That's great. Yeah. So, this country, as you said, we have so much to our disposal. We have a lot of processed food. And this food that we eat, it doesn't help us really. They're really processed because they're very highly palatable. They're very salty. They're fatty. They're sweet. So they give the brain the dopamine that it's trying to get from, okay, I feel sad, I don't feel good, but then, I want to eat, and then I feel better because now I've eaten the French fries and all that. So what I would say is portion size is really important. Portion size is important. The regular size of the plates, of the regular American plate, is huge. So I myself eat from a small, not too small, but a small plate so that I can get that portion size in. And also being able to realize that you need to eat more whole foods.
I love it.
Plant-based diet is what is recommended. Stay away from the ultra-processed stuff because they're not helping. Eat the real food, the ones that grow from the floor, from the ground, the potatoes, the brown rice, the things that are natural. Eat more plants, eat more fruits and vegetables because it helps. It reduces your stress, it relaxes you, dilates your arteries, especially if you have blood pressure, because fruits and vegetables have, some antioxidant effects in there that help dilate those arteries. So I would just recommend that with anyone that's trying to live healthy, food is 80 to 90%, of what your health is about, really. What you put in your body really matters. You have to pay attention. And then when it comes to emotional eating, you really have to detach yourself from the food. You have to ask yourself, am I hungry? Or am I just craving this food because I'm stressed, I'm lonely, I'm tired? If you give yourself, so when you have that craving, if you give yourself, at least 5 minutes in between, those cravings go away eventually, but if it lingers on and on and on, and you're having pains in your stomach, obviously you might be hungry. But sometimes we might be dehydrated and we think we're hungry. So stay hydrated, drink lots of water, and then if you're still hungry, and then you eat. But if you're not hungry, and then you realize that, okay, I'm actually eating because I'm lonely, then you realize, once again, that awareness, be able to realize that, okay, I'm not really hungry, but I'm lonely, so I want to eat that donut, or I want to eat that cake. So then processing your emotion, journaling, talking to a psychologist like Dr. Rolla, just talking to somebody and being able to separate that emotion from the real hunger is really important. Yeah.
Wow. So just to summarize a little bit, have a smaller plate.
Yes.
So that way you're ready to eat less. And then also what your portion size is.
Yes.
But when you say whole foods, can you break that down a little bit? Are we talking like food that is food from the earth, right?
From the earth.
As opposed to things in package,
yes,
in boxes.
Yes.
So if something is in a box, are you saying we should never eat it, or we should eat it less?
We should eat it less. I mean, to be honest, could be very difficult for some people, but you remember, your journey is different from somebody else's journey. There's some people that can go, plant-based, vegetarian, vegan, and they do it for the rest of your life. But if you know what you can, what you can take, for instance, if you know that, okay, I like to eat my box meal and this and that, just reduce the quantity and just reduce the frequency, and then pay attention to the packages. Pay attention, like if you have ingredients in there that you cannot spell, you cannot pronounce, they're foreign to you, they are not supposed to be in your body. Your body might not be able to, eliminate it or even process it. So just paying attention to the labels. A lot of us just grab things. We don't pay attention to what we're eating. We just grab and go. Slow down, pay attention to what you're eating.
I love it.
And then just mix it up. Mix the natural food with once in a while, things in the box. Just don't eat too much of the things in the box.
I love what you say about how we should slow it down, because when we're moving at this crazy pace of modern life in America and all over the world, but we're just constantly busy, it feels like we're missing the opportunity to ask ourselves why. Why am I doing this, and what am I doing?
Right.
So what I'm hearing from you, Dr. Sarah, is what am I eating and why am I eating it? So please, guys, pay attention to that, because that's something I'm working on. I know for me, I have zero self-control when it comes to sweets. So when I buy them, I share it with my kids when they were home, like, let's share the calories. But I have no self-control to be able to have a candy drawer. Zero. I don't get it. Because if I do, I will overeat it. So I know what my limits are. If I go to Costco and I buy a lot of muffins, my mom has this gift of putting the muffins in the freezer and taking one out. I will finish it within a few days. So I take one and I give it to her to eat it, to share it with her friends or whatever. So I really want to thank you for that. We can start where we are.
Yes.
But do something. Don't say, oh, this is how I've been eating all my life. I can't change it. You can change it. I love it. I love it. So what is the differences? First of all, I'm thoroughly enjoying talking to you today. I hope you guys are too, because honestly, again, our lives are so busy. We work hard, but wouldn't it be wonderful for us to also live well? And not just live long, which we want to, by God's grace, but we also want to live well. And then if you're a victim of trauma, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a picture of yourself 5 years after you recovered, as in your journey of recovery, and see that everything about you is different. Your body feels different. Your mind feels different. The way you sleep is different. Every aspect, your doctors are telling you you're doing better.
Yes.
I don't know how that person will be so excited, because what was meant to bring them down becomes the path, becomes that catalyst to move them into a whole different area of growth. And I think that's just beautiful. Now, we know that people see their PCPs. Many of them take their medications. But you are a person that is focused on wellness and coaching, and also prescribing as needed in the area of weight management. What would be the difference, Dr. Sarah, between what you do and the person that sees their NP, that sees their nurse practitioner and sees you? Yes.
Right. So what makes me stand out is the fact that, fine, I can give you medication, I can prescribe medication, but I really want to know you as a person. I want to look at you more holistically. I work on your mindset. I try to figure out what exactly is going on. What other layers? Let's unlayer what's going on in there. Is there self-doubt? Is there stress? What else is going on there? Because your PCP or your nurse practitioner might not have the time to spend time with you, to coach you through, new behavior changes that you need to have, the mindset change, the affirmations and the support. I give you that, but your PCP or your regular nurse practitioner might not be able to give you that. So what makes me stand out is, treating you holistically, and then, helping you with your mindset. And supporting you along the way, being your cheerleader, your motivator, and just kind of helping you, guide you through making all those lifestyle changes and helping you develop new habits that will give you sustainable weight loss and improve your health overall.
It sounds like you're also helping, talking as a psychologist now, of course, it sounds like you're helping people to work to that sense of shame. Like, I've tried this so many times, it's not worked, and I'm a failure. Look at me, people are mocking me, I'm overweight, they think I don't look good, or I feel ashamed. Were you supporting them? Do you find that people are not feeling ashamed like they used to, and they're not feeling that? Tell us a little bit about how people are handling that. Do they feel less ashamed and they feel more confident that they could do better?
Yes. When I talk to my clients and, we go a little bit deeper, and then we talk on things that maybe they thought that because they were different from others, maybe they had like a speech impediment or maybe something physically, or they went through a trauma. And then when I let them realize that, okay, these things are special, these things are your strengths, you're made in a special way, and they feel better. They feel like, oh my God, I can tap into that. That makes me unique. My troubles or my trials are ways that, I'm a woman of faith, are ways that God might have kind of make them so that they can make you the best version of yourself, chipping out all the bad things or just making you stronger. So I let them tap into that and kind of not necessarily wire their brain, but let them look at it in a different perspective. Like, okay, you went through this is what's going on, or you're made. So let's look at the other positive side of it.
This is making you different. This is something that is unique to you. Hone in on that strength, and they usually feel better and they feel refreshed. Yeah.
So if you're a victim of violence, trauma, anything you've been through in your childhood, Dr. Sarah is really encouraging you today, and we're encouraging you, both of us, that we don't want you to be ashamed. Don't be ashamed that you failed, that you made mistakes, and things have not worked out, or you tried things. The only time we can stop trying is when we're no longer here. As long as we're living, there's hope. So we are here. There are people out there to support you. And even if other people around you are not doing that right now, stay on that search for that positive person, that positive support group. And realize that even though you don't feel it, there's treasure in you.
Yes.
That the trauma is hiding. And some of us, and many people out there, you may never have met them. And this podcast is one of them, positive avenues that wants to tell you that treasure is worth fighting for.
Exactly.
Keep going for it. Keep going for it. I'm so full. I'm so full today. So we're coming to the end of this. I'm thoroughly enjoying talking to you anyway. I could go on forever, but we have a timeline. Editing, the editors, they'll do their job. But we're here to be real with people, and I'm so grateful. Are there specific diets you recommend? Nutrition in the culture, in medicine you recommend? Or specific medications in your practice that people are asking that question, what do I do with this? Is there something that I should go on today? What would you say to them?
Well, in terms of diet, I wouldn't say specific, because if it's weight loss, any diet that reduces calories can help you lose weight, right? But it's all about being able to sustain it and be healthy while you're trying to sustain it. So I usually recommend a plant-based, whole food plant-based diet to my clients. You can eat a little bit of animal product here and there, but don't eat too much of it because of the cholesterol and the inflammation. But make sure you're eating a lot more fruits and vegetables, a lot more whole fruits, quinoa, brown rice, white rice, very little of it. Things really in their natural form is what I recommend.
So they don't have to have a special diet that they spend a lot of money on if they can't afford it.
No.
They can go to the grocery store and make those choices that can make them feel better.
Exactly.
What about medication-assisted weight loss? Do you have any comments about that, please?
Yes. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with having, that little help. If you have high blood pressure, you get medication, have diabetes. So if you have, problems losing weight, because now obesity has been categorized as a disease, as a chronic disease. So it's just like treating your diabetes. So if you need medication to lose weight, go ahead and get it. There are medications out there that's, the GLPs, the Ozempic. It's all over. So go ahead and just talk to your doctor, talk to your primary care doctor. And if you need that help, get the help. But if you also need that psychological, mindset and therapy, also get that, because those two work together.
So medication alone would not be the only way. It would be good for the person to look at any other issues that might be affecting their ability to manage their weight.
Exactly, because I can give you medication all day, but if I don't work on what else is going on, your mindset, and letting you learn healthier habits, you're going to be relying on the medication. And when the medication stops, you're going to gain all that weight back. So what I do with my clients is I prescribe them the medication, but I also supplement it with coaching and helping them, develop new habits and letting them be aware of, this is what is going. So the medication will help you, if you have to suppress your appetite, but then it turns out all the distractions and the noise of the food so that you can then focus on what else is going on. Is it my relationship, my intimate relationship? Is it my job? Is it the other traumas that I've suppressed for so long? So then you can, talk to somebody about it, and I can give you strategies on how to help. So those two work together.
They work together.
Yeah.
So we don't want to adopt this shortcut approach, like, let me just focus on on the weight, which is what many of, and that's why there's been a lot of failure rates about
Right,
that.
right.
So it's integrating the lifestyle choices that really makes it successful, not just in the short term, right?
Exactly.
In the long term.
Exactly, long term.
What would you tell us, please, about maybe people who have not adequately nourished, they're underweight? Many of my clients have do a lot of purging and rapid weight loss, and there's concern about health, but aesthetically they look good and everybody thinks they're okay, but in therapy they'll say, I know I'm not eating well, I like the way I look. But what kind of support can you give or advice can you give to that group of people? Not because we've been talking about the weight gain, there are other people too who are not adequately nourished, are engaging in eating disorders. What kind of advice and support would you give them in terms of them getting the help they need and they're victims of trauma?
Yeah. So, obviously those people that have that drastic weight loss or they're not eating, they obviously need to see a psychologist like you. So once they have that support, and at least that part is already being achieved. But in terms of the nutrition part, letting them realize that they need nutrients. They need supplements. They need, if they need to be on protein shakes, if they need to be on smoothies, if they're finding it hard to swallow certain things, they might need to see a doctor for that. But in terms of the nutrients, it's important for them to get the nutrients in, because you can be skinny on the outside, but then metabolically, there's something called skinny fat. You're fat inside. You can develop diabetes. You can develop high blood pressure. So it's important for you to be able to get those nutrients in. You can, as I said, smoothies, supplements. Try to eat little small meals at a time so you can get all that in. Especially if you feel overwhelmed when you see a full plate. Just eat little, strawberries here, grapes here, blueberries there, a little bit of bowl of oatmeal that's really healthy and makes you feel full. So those little things can help, just little changes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you, Dr. Sarah. It's been incredibly enlightening for me and I'm sure for our audience. Do you want to before you give us your final words, can you kind of tell us a little bit about how they can reach you, what your website, any information that would be needed for them to be able to contact you if they wanted to?
Sure. So you can contact me on my website, www.unlayeredwellness.com, or on all social media handles. You can just type in my first name, Sarah Omodele. You see it pop up. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You see all my posts and things in there. And yeah, you can schedule a free consultation, just to kind of see where you're at. And if you live in Georgia and you need the medication support, I also provide that.
I love it. Thank you so much. It's on Layered Wellness.
Yes, .com. Yeah.
And then .com. And then on social media handle, her last name is spelled Omodele. Sarah, Omodele. You can find her there and connect with her. We really think that people are going to be helped when they work with somebody like you, because you not only are doing this as an area of specialty, you've also seen now as a new era, you have over 20 years in the field and you've seen people at their worst.
Yes.
That passion of trying to help people, I believe it's on a different level in a positive way for you, because you don't want them to get to that place when things become terminal or become so chronic to where they're never able to get that quality of life again.
Yeah.
So you are playing a critical role in prevention, and so we're thankful for that. Any final words for our audience about how they should take care of their physical health, weight management as related to trauma, and just things that your takeaway for today? That would be great for us. Thank you.
I think what I would just say is you're worth it. You're beautiful. I see you. I understand what you're going through. I might not understand it in detail, but trust me, I know and I see you. And taking care of your body is really important, really. Because if you want to live to your best self and,
just maximize this life and live a vibrant life, you have to take care of your body. You have to. You cannot neglect your body. You can't leave it to somebody else to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. You have to just dig yourself out of that, with therapy, just dig yourself out of where you are and just hold on to the light, because there's so much more in you. There's so much potential in you.
I love it. Wow. Thank you, Dr. Sarah. If you're a victim of crime or violence, trauma, or you have a loved one who is struggling, Dr. Sarah is really encouraging us today that we need to take care of not just the mind. We need to do everything holistically. And the physical health is a critical aspect of recovery from trauma. I want to thank you again and again for being here. I think I'm going to get you back in here, whether you like it or not, even though you're incredibly busy. And we wanted to wish you well. Thank you so much for joining us. And in this journey of recovery, we wish you well, and we know that things are going to get better for you. Bye now.